my pink P90. Now, as some of you know, I wasn't very stoked to get this in my most recent Box of Awesomeness unboxing. Indeed, happy Valentine's Day to me. A pink P90. But I have a buddy who also has a black Cybergun P90, so we swapped some parts around, and I think it looks much cooler now in the two-tone pink and black. And I was also given the advice to perhaps HPA it. And since it's tax return time, baby, I got myself a Hydra Gen 2. Now this is specifically designed for the P90, and from what I hear, it's a super duper easy install, so let's get into it. Now, one of the coolest things about this P90 is that you really don't have to take any of this stuff apart to get to the gearbox. It's literally 2 screws in the back, so we're gonna get into that. Back comes off super easy, and then there should be literally 2 screws in here. All right, after a bit of prying, I was able to get that out of there. So we'll set aside these 2 screws and the back plate. And then from what I understand, the gearbox should just come right on out. And what do you know? Couldn't be easier. Now we just put the entire P90 away. We don't have to worry about that anymore. And we're getting right into the install. We're gonna go ahead and take apart this gearbox and swap out the internals with this Hydra Gen 2 engine. All right, I started off by unplugging the motor wires, and then I took these 3 screws out of the trigger mechanism, and then this guy should just pop right off here. Okay. Then this black wire should pull right through here. There we go. And that is our old trigger mechanism. We'll set this aside. Or throw it away, whatever. All right, next up, we're going to take apart the engine, take out the gears, and just have the shell separated into 2 halves. I've now removed these 3 screws, and the gearbox should hopefully come apart and explode all over the place. I'll take the motor out first. This is the motor cage. This holds the motor in place. I don't really think I need it for the HPA build, so I'm going to set that aside. All right, there we go. Anti-reversal latch, shims. All right. Tappet plate, piston, cylinder, cylinder head, tappet plate. All right, there's all of our stuff in bits. I'm gonna clean up this just a little bit, get some of the grease off of here, and I think I should take out these bushings as well. All right, now that we have our bushings out of there and the grease cleaned off and the shells all by themselves, we're gonna go ahead and unbox this guy and see what comes in it. Oh, that's nice. Okay, comes with a Wolverine patch. I've gotten one of these before with our MTW. Here's the engine. Wiring should be in here. All right. Lots of little goodies. Here's our FCU. Here are our trigger contacts. Here is the 3D printed bracket that the trigger contacts get screwed onto, and then this goes onto the gearbox. A bunch of little screws. O-ring replacements. Wolverine Airsoft official product card, and then the airline. So I'm going to go ahead and put the trigger contacts onto the bracket, and then I'll get going with the rest of the installation. Okay, we have our trigger assembly assembled. First thing we want to do here is pull the wiring harness through there, and then from what I remember, should be pretty straightforward mounting. Okay, we get these 2 cords through here. Now that we have our trigger mechanism wired up through the bushing hole, we're going to go ahead and hook up the solenoid connector and put the engine in. Engine drops in just like that. Actually, let's get the line for the air wire, or the air line screwed in here first, huh? Don't want to over tighten it here, just making sure it's not going to leak. Okay, now this should drop right in. Huh. Okay, hook up the solenoid wire to the wiring harness. That's in there. Go ahead and clean up the wires a bit. All right. All right, that closed up for me. Let's get the little screw up here in the top just to hold it all in place. All right, I've got the trigger mechanism in place here. I just have to tighten it down with a few screws. All right, our trigger mechanism is being held in by these two screws here, and everything's activating. So we're gonna go ahead and seal this gearbox up and move on to the next stage. All right, gearbox is all sealed up and ready to go right back into that P90. So easy. Before we can put the engine into the P90, we need to go ahead and drill out a hole for the airline. All right, gearbox is sitting in place. We should be able to put our plate back in, screw it in, and be done. All right, back plate's back in there, gearbox is locked in place. Let's go ahead and connect the FCU and a battery and see if this thing fires. We got the tank hooked up, connected at about 100 PSI. Lines connected, batteries in. Let's hear it. Ooh. Uh-oh. See, that's a one-stage trigger. Okay. Hell yeah. Now I switch to auto. Nice, guys. We just built an HPA P90. Let's go test it on the field. You're a dead man now. Good shit.
Thank you.